News Radio 700 WLW.
We've come to that, Rock, that famous people now have to protect everything about themselves.
Right, something you never would have thought of 10 or even 5 years ago, but someone like Taylor Swift, for instance, who has a recognizable voice, right? Even if you don't love her songs or even listen to her, you know what her voice sounds like if she comes on the radio or on a commercial. But the problem is a lot of times it's a deep fake, and I think some fake thing was having her sell like a kitchen cookware or something like that. So I guess artists like her are going to great lengths to make sure that their real voice and image is protected.
Well, here to discuss this whole new trend that's going on, he is an adjunct professor of patent law at Nova Southeastern Law School in Florida. He's written a couple of books on patents. He is the patent professor. He is John Rizvi. John, always a pleasure. Welcome back.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. Thank you.
So, John, you heard what Rock was saying there and what we were talking about. I guess if you were in Hollywood, if you're a singer, if you're obviously an actor and TV personality or whatnot, this would behoove you to do this, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. It's something that more and more celebrities are jumping on because, trademark law typically protects brands. So you'll get a brand, you'll have a logo, maybe the name, and you always had the ability to protect like short sound bites, things like the NBC chime, for example, or if anyone remembers AOL, there you've got mail. So the soundbite was protected. What's now happening is you've got, for example, Matthew McConaughey protecting and getting a trademark on all right, all right, all right. And not just the words, but the particular way that he says it. What Taylor Swift is attempting to do is using trademark law in a really unique way to try to protect and prevent AI impersonations. And as you mentioned, she's had a fraudulent impersonation from somebody a company trying to sell cookware, pots and pans. There also was an AI endorsement of President Trump during the election. That was not her. It was another deep fake. The deep fakes are harder and harder to catch, and the public is easily deceived. And this is something that celebrities have to focus on, not just to protect their commercial value in their own brands and their own businesses, but also to prevent endorsements or false endorsements or have people associate them with something that they find distasteful. There's no real easy way for viewers or listeners to be able to tell the difference between the real Taylor Swift and some of these deepfakes are so good, it's virtually impossible to tell the difference.
So with that said, I would think that's what someone who wanted to use her voice but not really act like it's her would say. It's like plausible deniability, right? Well, it's not her voice. It's it's a little bit off.
The style of
wink, wink. So how do you, the inflection, the pitch, like how do you go about protecting something like a voice?
And that's why it's not a slam dunk, and it's certainly never been tested in court. And that's what the real legal question is: can you own a voice? I mean, there's people that sound alike. What are they supposed to do if they just happen to have a similar voice pattern as Taylor Swift? They're not selling products, they're not doing anything. So the courts haven't really looked into that. There's also free speech concerns, and there might be defenses based on free speech, especially if you're not using it in a commercial sense. The cookware company, I think, is not going to have a good defense, but somebody else that just happens to sound like her would certainly have a strong defense, and that's the stuff that's the courts are going to have to decipher. And I think eventually we're going to have AI-specific laws that are dealing with AI-generated deep fakes. We're using existing doctrines that that are hundreds of years old. They're based in they have a constitutional basis, but the laws need to evolve to catch up with the speed of technology. I mean, the copyrights will protect an existing song, existing music, but it's not going to prevent somebody from taking that voice and creating a new song and making it almost, and fooling potential listeners into thinking it's a new song by Taylor Swift just because it sounds like her.
Yeah, and we're talking to John Risby. And John, the thing is, and Rock and I have talked about it before, I want to say recently in the top 40, it was 3 or 4 or 5 songs, something like that, that was completely AI generated. It didn't copy anybody, but it's all new original content, completely fabricated out of thin air. It's crazy.
Yes. I mean, these are levels that were never contemplated under the existing statutes. So it's still untested, but I think that you can't fault a celebrity for trying to protect their likeness. Now, there are state statutes for protecting the right of publicity. So if you're famous, you do have a right of publicity protecting your name, your image, your voice, but it's really expensive and cumbersome to bring a bunch of lawsuits state by state because the laws are different for each state. The beauty of trademark law is that it's federal. So you have one federal statute and you don't have to bring state law into this and hire attorneys separately for every state that you want to sue for infringement. So I think this is, at least for the time being, the only route that that celebrities have is to try to use trademark law to try to protect the source identity of their likeness. And hopefully eventually there'll be specific statutes. I think there needs to be something at the federal level dealing specifically with AI impersonation.
And John, what are the parameters of if somebody wants to get a phrase trademark? Like you mentioned Matthew McConaughey, and that's obviously pretty famous, but what about maybe not? Because my partner here, Eddie, has a famous phrase. Do the Friday thing.
Oh, that is not me. I'm copying that.
Oh, well, damn, you just ruined. You could have made a lot of money.
No, I don't want to get sued by that guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't want everybody to confuse these things. See, I'm doing an homage.
Yes, that plausible deniability. That's exactly what I was saying. But no, John, like how, like what level of famous do you have to be to trademark a phrase or a saying or something? How do you determine such a thing?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the U.S. trademark system. There is no level of fame to protect a phrase. What is required is that you use it in commerce. So it has to somehow be tied to business. You can't just coin a phrase and not do anything in commerce with it. But if you end up selling products, it could be T-shirts, novelty items, keychains, whatever it is. If you somehow tie the phrase to actual sales of goods or services, then you can get that phrase protected. But you can't stop someone from using the phrase. For example, "You've got mail" is something that AOL can not prevent anybody from using. There's a free speech right to use that. However, they have exclusive rights to that phrase when it comes to electronic commerce, e-commerce, using "You've got mail." In the same way with, Apple, they own the term Apple when it comes to goods and services relating to computers and electronic devices, but they don't have a monopoly on the word apple. What are we supposed to call the fruit if they did? So the bottom line is there's no level of fame required. If you have a business idea, a phrase that you want to start selling goods or services under, you can seek exclusive rights to that. The test is going to be, are you using it in commerce or have a genuine intent to use it in commerce? And they want to make sure it's not confusingly similar to some other trademark that's out there. Trademark rights are on a first-to-file basis. So if somebody else has the use first, then you're out of luck. You've got to come up with another brand name.
All right. With that, John, we will let you go. Always great knowledge to glean. People want to find out more. Where can they go and find out more about what it is you do?
So they can, my trademark, since we're speaking of exclusive phrases, is the patent professor. So anywhere on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X, just type in the patent professor, you'll find me, and our website is thepatentprofessor.com.
All right. Thanks so much, John Risby.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.